Oh, there he goes. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you a really, really serious question. And that was a little hot sauce.
It's, oh my God, I'm dying.
Like slightly sus. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about squirrels.
Hello and welcome to Thought Ones, a show produced by MIT's Compass course, 2101. The class addresses three big questions. What do we value? What do we know? And what do we owe each other? By bringing together a variety of professors from our School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. For this show, we've brought together professors from the course and paired them with students to consider some of the questions examined during the class. This episode will be focusing on questions around knowledge. What do we know and how do we know it? The twist. Before answering, they must eat a chip filled with hot sauce. As each question gets harder, the hot sauce gets spicier. At the end of the episode, they have a choice to make. They can either walk away, or they can eat the spiciest hot sauce, answer the hardest question, and be rewarded with ice cream. Let's meet our contestants.
Hello, my name is Emily Richmond Pollock. I teach in music and theater arts, and I'm a musicologist, which means I'm a music historian, and I study the history of opera.
Hello, my name is Johnnie Jones, and I am a MIT sophomore studying Brain and Cognitive Sciences, course 9. Mostly I just spend my time going on long walks, and I'm a big conversationalist. So is there a favorite lesson of yours in Compass that you don't teach?
I think the most provocative one for me is actually the lesson about meritocracy, which is by Tristan Brown in history. He was talking about the meritocracy as it relates to the Chinese civil service exam, which was a way of choosing who could be in the government by how well they wrote poetry. And I just think it's a really cool example to think about what do we think makes good people in government, but also why the criteria, why we choose the criteria we do to make anybody in any role. You know, what qualifies me to be an MIT professor, for instance. It wasn't about writing poetry, but it was relatively arbitrary if you really think about it. I think that's kind of useful.
All right, well, let's get started. Yeah?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we have 5 very spicy sauces.
Yes.
This is the least spicy, and this is the most spicy. You have to eat this. Put that on something and eat it.
Okay, here we go.
I don't know if anyone in this room or in the audience for this video will have seen this, but there's a Ramona Quimby book where Ramona is in preschool and she has her, oh, there he goes. Her friends are at a party and she tries to get them to eat Fig Newtons but tells them there are worms in it. Is it awful? Are you dead?
A little bit.
She tells them that Fig Newtons are made of worms and they say, I don't want to eat worms. And she shoves it in and says, you eat this. Eat this. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you a really, really serious question. Oh man, oh, this is so related. This is so related to the thing I just said. Okay, so what is a metric that affects your life? And do you think it's reliable?
I guess maybe the first thing that springs to mind is probably grades. I feel like up until like my life thus far, it's really been like, oh, like what is your GPA? Like what are your scores? You know, we use these numbers to really quantify how much aptitude, how much skill, how much practice, how much proficiency you have in like all sorts of things. I don't know, it's really interesting that we just sort of put numbers and overlay it over on top of everything. And we really like to reduce people down to just like, how well are you doing on this particular scale? And I guess in terms of like how reliable that is, I don't know, I think classes, depending on, you know, the particulars, can have a lot of variability. It's really how we allocate resources and set people up for the rest of their life. You know, it shapes what education you can get, what forms of employment you can find, everything.
Yeah, but when you think about like classes you've taken that have really impacted you, probably like the specific average that you ended up with at the end, whether it was a 96 or a 93 or whatever, is not one of the things that factors into how you think about the class or...
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, I think specifically the classes I've gotten the most from is the ones where like I've completely disregarded the grade.
Yeah.
Like where I've said...
So liberating, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like letting go. Like so often, you know, I find myself falling into this mentality, I know others have it even worse than I do, where you can be like so focused on the number, so focused on the letter, that you're not actually getting what you need to get out of the class. And at the end of the day, the product of your education is of course like in some sense like just a piece of paper, but really like the product of your education is meant to be you. Like who you are as a person. What experiences have you had? Like how are you able to think? Those are definitely, what would you say? ideas that defy quantification.
Right.
And at the very least in like a very simple or easy sense.
Right, and like make the grade kind of an unreliable,
Yes.
to use the word of the card, right? An
Yeah.
unreliable marker of whether you learned what you wanted to learn or whether you learned even what the faculty wanted you to learn might not be that reflected in that number.
Yeah.
Should I do mine now?
Yeah,
Okay, so
believe
this is cayenne.
Is it?
It is?
Okay.
Okay. I like that you picked the chips that have this shape to them.
Yeah, like
It's a little well. It looks like a kind of like a flower.
I thought like we were gonna start us off easy.
But this is spicy. Am I gonna be?
It's not like super
You're
spicy.
not coughing. Okay,
I'm not
here we go.
coughing. We're good.
That's very tasty.
Yeah.
That's very tasty. Okay. What's my question?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was telling Ramona Quimby stories while you were doing this before. It's very good.
Okay.
Okay.
So, do you know multiple languages? At what point would you say you quote know or unquote know these languages, and like and maybe like what was the boundary like that made you decide, oh yeah, I know this now?
Yeah. By that metric, I feel like I don't know any other languages, which is a very humbling thing to admit to. So I took 4 years of French in high school and got to the point where I could converse a little bit and definitely read well enough that I can still read in French. I took German in college. That was because I already knew I wanted to work on German language stuff for my research. When I try to speak French, German comes out first. So I feel like I have like a second language bucket, and so I can't get to the French anymore. So I guess maybe I don't know any other languages, but I think philosophically it's kind of an interesting question. Like, at what point do you feel like you know another language? Sometimes people say like, I can think in that language. Yeah, I feel like you have to use it like a lot, and then you maybe feel like you really know it. But I really admire people that speak multiple languages well.
Besides like world languages,
Yeah.
like maybe like taking a broader definition of like language,
Yeah.
like would you consider like musical notation, for instance, to be like its own form of language?
I mean, that's a good point. And in that way, I learned that language when I was very, very young. Like I was in music classes when I was like 3 years old. And so I don't remember learning how to read music. I've always read music that I can remember. I can audiate music, which means like when I look at a staff, I can tell what it sounds like, which is not an uncommon skill for musicians, but it is cool.
Yeah,
So like I can tell you, like I'm not really singing it to myself, but like I can just tell what it sounds like. I don't need the piano or another tool to get me there. Yeah, I also have absolute pitch. So like if you play a note on the piano, I know what note that is. And all of that just comes from like having been exposed at an early age, which I think is true of some people that are truly bilingual from like early age because their parents speak 2 different languages or they're being raised, you know, in a different place than the language that is being spoken in their house or whatever. So I feel like if you are immersed in something at a young age, it's much easier to become like fluent.
Yeah.
But I also think a lot of those skills you can get later in your life. Like I definitely encourage people to like increase their musicianship from whatever level. I feel like that is totally doable when you're older. You don't need to do it when you're a kid just to like you haven't ruled yourself out. Okay, so the next one is it's Chipotle.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. The first one was very tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what question I'm gonna be asking you. Oh man, I know what I would say to this.
Oh no.
Oh, that's a lot. That's more than I'm gonna do. I feel like this is like, okay, my new friend. Here's a question for you to contemplate while you are chewing. Is there a correct interpretation of every text?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say too. Can you elaborate on that?
Part of it has to do with the fact that I'm not even sure that there's a clear purpose for every text. I mean, I think an author they go into it with these kind of various ideas in mind, but oftentimes like people talk about their work shaping them as much as they're shaping it. And so kind of like there's this dialogue between artist and medium, and not everything gets fully translated into the piece itself, and some things are kind of expressed subtextually. I don't know, just they have different characters than you would otherwise anticipate. And so if you can't even like translate actual purpose into a work, I mean, what hope do you really have in having a perfect interpretation or the single
interpret? Yeah.
Especially because, I mean, you know, I think part of the joy in a lot of art is that you can take maybe the original context it was in and then apply it elsewhere. Like that's what I love about like ancient Greek philosophy.
Right.
Because
they
like,
couldn't have anticipated us.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to like correct interpretation, I think maybe you can, of course, there's always like, you can have better substantiated interpretations, like maybe a better idea, but it really is always like, one, what was the author going in with the intention of doing? And then 2, what is the work actually doing now that it's out there in the world? You know, once it's actually in dialogue with not just the new time that it's in, with the material environment it's in, with other works of art that are now around it. I don't know, when I think of a correct interpretation, I think it has to be adapting and has to account for the fact that there are just so many different things going on and it's too complicated.
I guess I always think about like what parts of this are subjective, meaning that it's about my experience with the text, and then what can I analyze in the text that is objective in that is really going on in the text, but my way of framing it or thinking about it or what it means to me or something could be, you know, different from person to person, but hopefully you at least see that I am pointing to a pattern or a feature that you can also see it's a pattern or feature, even if you see it differently or recognize it differently or something.
Yeah, and you know, I think something you're kind of getting at is that you always bring your lived experience into whatever it is that you're viewing.
Well, especially your reading experience. If we're talking about stuff that you read, like I've read a totally different set of things than you've read, mostly, right? Like probably the vast majority of books I've read are different from the vast majority of books that you've read, right? You've read a bunch of stuff I haven't read and vice versa. And so when I read something new, what it is that I read into it would be really different. And there's a way to try to read as much as possible so that you have the biggest possible context, but it's not, it's an asymptote, right? Like even if you spent all your time reading, your ability to read everything you would need to know what something means within that context is.
No, the wealth of human knowledge is too great for any one person. You know,
it's overwhelming.
Like even if you read a book every week, every day, or you know, for the rest of your life, let's say like you live 80 more years, 52 books per year. I mean, you're not even scratching the surface. That's how many books are published within a month.
Yeah, that's a really weird way of thinking about it, but totally, yeah, exactly. You can only do so much in one lifetime. You have to count on your fellow readers to read something different. You could try to distribute the labor and be like, hey, we're not going to read anything on purpose. Johnnie and Emily are not going to read anything in common for the next 40 years, and then we'll get together when I'm 81 and you're 60. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
And we'll just share with each other all the books we read and see what we find out.
Okay.
Cool. Good. All right. So Chipotle for me.
Yes. And then I will get your question. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, what is the most valuable thing you have learned in academia?
Oh my goodness. And I'm going to chew this one really slowly.
No, that's okay. Mull it over.
Is that the whole thing? What was the most valuable thing I learned in academia?
Yeah, and why?
Oh my God. The most valuable thing.
That's kind of like a gut punch. I mean, for question 2.
That's very tasty also. Oh my goodness.
And you said you didn't have a good spice tolerance. I'm over here, like I bite into it. I'm like, oh.
It's hot. I mean, but it's yummy. I like the other flavors that are in it besides just the heat too.
Oh, good.
You don't have to be the greatest mind of your generation to make a contribution. I feel like, and actually that relates to my lesson, which is about genius. Fields are made up of lots and lots of people, and you can contribute something that feels relatively confined or moves things forward a few steps. It doesn't have to be like the one thing that shifts the paradigm or the one thing that now everybody does their work completely differently because of me. And like, I've been very lucky to have a job at MIT. I've been very grateful for all the opportunities it gives me to do my research and to like go the places I need to go. But, you know, I'm more in mid-career now and I can see the rest of the field, and I think I just have a much more realistic both expectation of where I will go and also like a sense of acceptance around like academia has space for lots of people doing lots of different kinds of work. And I think that's really valuable, and it doesn't need to like crush your self-esteem or make you feel like you should quit. The sort of slightly more like big ideas or like intellectual thing that I've learned in academia is definitely to always pay attention to what other fields can teach you. And that's definitely related to the Compass class. Like, we're trying to have a lot of dialogue across disciplines. Whatever field you are in, there's really cool stuff happening in fields that are like adjacent to yours or even a little bit further afield. And the more you are open to like learning from those, the more like off the wall or like interesting your work can be, and the work gets a lot richer if you're willing to like go read outside of your immediate area.
It's funny, this is the second time I've had like a conversation like this with a faculty member.
Oh yeah, where they emphasize the new things that they've been learning.
Yeah, it was like a course 9 dinner, like a brain and cog sci dinner, and it was like the head of the department, and he was kind of harping on how, you know, he wasn't like the hugest fan of like the interdisciplinarity movement, because in his mind, you know, he was a physicist by training and then he got into neuroscience because of like the problem solving of it. And, you know, he mentioned like he would have his physicist colleagues go in and like re-explain a biological phenomena, but really they were just putting like their own terminology over the same thing, and it wasn't really adding any depth.
Interesting.
But then, you know, rather than it being just interdisciplinary, it was sort of taking the same thing and then looking at it at varying levels of depth. And that was sort of what he found to be the most productive. Not just like not just having a cursory knowledge of various things, but having like that one really particular field of expertise, and then being able to use that in tandem with the other languages in order to really elucidate a phenomenon across all levels, with just, the nuance that various scales of analyses presents.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like level 1 is you're borrowing concepts from other fields to make your field better. Like level, I don't know, 3 or 4 is there anything in your new application or those fusion of those ideas that you can teach back to that field you borrowed from? Yeah. You've taken secondary literature from different areas to make your own work richer. Does what you come up with have anything to give back, right? And I can see that people who see their work being borrowed might find that like slightly sus, but. Okay, so this is sauce number 3.
Yes.
Habanero hot sauce.
Oh boy.
And I'm gonna read this. I think I know the answer to this one too.
Oh, the answer.
All right, so while you're chewing, does the scientific process produce objective truths?
No, because I'm not sure what it is even producing is truth.
Okay. So not just objective, but truth itself you're going to take issue with.
I'm going to take like the metaphysical position of there is a magical, complex world out there that is full of amazing phenomena.
Is it magic?
I mean, it's kind of magical.
I just asking.
We go back and you can see all these stories about like fairy tales and other things, and we kind of scoff a little bit and say, oh wow, people were so silly back then. Like they really believed that like things could appear out of thin air, like from the steam or smoke or whatnot, or like when they were burning their offerings, that they were really reaching something other than just the stratosphere. But I mean, if you really go back and try to understand like what must have been happening at the time, I mean, there was so much happening that was just so beyond their comprehension, like that we didn't have scientific explanations for. I reckon I would completely believe like so many otherwise like mythical stories if I were back in that era. And I think they would make a lot of sense because like, you see clouds appear out of nowhere. You can see like within the fog, things sort of have like this translucent quality. I mean, when water starts to boil, I mean, there's something kind of funny in like when you actually engage in the sensory experience of it. And, now we have just so many layers of scientific understanding that we just impose on top and say, oh yeah, we've reduced it down, we understand it, it's no longer magical. But, when you go back, I think there really was something kind of, something really important in how we are understanding them before. So maybe to get back to the question at hand, what is science actually doing if it's not producing truths? Science is producing models. Models have utility. All models are wrong, but some are useful. And so we're taking like this really complicated, strange, complex world, and we're putting a napkin over it. And that napkin is science, and we're using that in order to piece out like various parts, like maybe the shape and texture of it. But you never actually get to what's underneath the napkin. I mean, we're all limited just by how narrow our sensory field is. I forget what Umwelt is the German word for it, like that entire domain of sensory experience.
The environment, yeah.
We are seeing such a small fraction of the universe at all times, and we are very poorly, despite our best efforts. I mean, we're doing amazing science, but we are very poorly piecing the story together, and it has taken maybe to relate to your class, absolute genius in order to really put some of the more fundamental pieces together.
Do you think it'll ever get to objective truth?
I mean, I guess you can enter into a discussion of like, what is the truth of everything? I'm not convinced that reality could ever be explained by a model. I'm not so sure that everything obeys these mathematical construct so very neatly. I mean, there is an unreasonable level of efficacy in mathematics applied to the natural sciences. Like, it is absolutely mind-boggling that we could describe forces in the way we do a simple multiplication, like F equals ma. Like,
how?
Absolutely mind-boggling that the universe would work in any way that is beyond me. It's just, I mean, I think you can get into like all sorts of arguments. Like some people will say that's evidence of, what would you call it? Like, not divine creation, intelligent creation. But, I think there's just such a level of astonishment I take into the fact that math works at all with science. And then, I'm even more skeptical of like what science is doing to begin with. And so you put all that together and I don't see how you could ever really arrive at like a capital T truth. And that's the problem, is that like I take a very skeptical position.
So it's about the limitations on humans as much as the limitations on quote unquote science.
Oh yeah, absolutely, like for sure. And then you can get into like topics of like the epistemological barrier. Like, is there a limit to what human beings can understand? Because like we've made it this far, but like try to understand try to explain a quadratic equation to a squirrel, and there is no hope that you will ever be able to convey some level of understanding to a squirrel. And like, what if we are the squirrel in a big scary universe?
Yeah. No, I hear that. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about squirrels.
In a big scary universe.
I'm very fond of beavers.
Oh.
Being a professor at MIT. Okay, I'm going to go next.
Yeah.
Okay. How spicy was this one?
I thought it was like slightly less spicy actually.
Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. Oh wow. Okay, really going with the heavy. Well, speaking of epistemology.
Oh yeah.
What is worth knowing?
What is worth knowing? Oh my goodness. What is worth knowing? Oh man, I feel like I want to say something cliche like each other. It's worth knowing each other. We were talking already about how we're on the planet for a limited amount of time, sometimes even shorter than we want it to be.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I feel like relationships are kind of the most precious thing we've got.
Yeah.
So I guess it also relates to what I was saying before about things in academia, being able to learn from other fields. Like, you know what you know. If you're lucky, you know what you yourself know, but finding out what other people know and from their perspective, how the world seems, you can grow so much, and hopefully they can also grow. And that could be because they're in a different field. It could just be because they're a different person. And that was a little hot sauce. And that's a kind of an amazing thing about the universe. Yeah, about what it means to be human. Now it's getting to me. I'm gonna drink a little water.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh man.
We'll see.
Okay, so number 4. What is that one?
This is Louisiana.
Louisiana hot sauce.
Oh boy.
I don't know how you're gonna answer this one because I feel like it's negated by the previous one, but we'll see. All right.
Oh no.
Okay, so listen to this. Is knowledge of the truth always preferable to ignorance? Why or why not? And the reason why I say this is because if you don't think that there's any such thing as objective truth that we can find through science or any other way, then there is no such thing as knowledge of the truth. There's only ignorance and more ignorance. But you tell me if you think I'm misinterpreting you. Also, is that one very spicy?
I don't know. It's like playing tricks on me.
Your eyes aren't watering, so you seem okay.
I don't know. This is actually a question I've been wrestling with myself, kind of like the past couple of months, because just an alternative perspective that maybe looks a little bit more at like the inherent worth of things rather than just their outcomes. So more interesting to me is kind of like this more fundamental question of why do we have this inherent disposition towards finding new knowledge? We never really sit down and actually question why we're doing it, but like the more and more I meditate on it, the more and more it seems like kind of radically human that we come into this world knowing very little to nothing. We're completely reliant on other people, and then we have this process of maturation, and then by the end of it, like, we're like adults with some reasonable cognitive faculties, and we just want to know more. Like, we just go through our life assimilating more and more knowledge, more lived experience. It's really about like, what is this fundamental human disposition that the vast majority of people share, and why is that what unites us? Like, why is this the fundamental human characteristic? So,
but sometimes it's better to be ignorant, or never.
Like, what I think?
Yeah.
I think it's always better to know than to not know. It is better to know? I think it's.
I feel like there's some things I hope I never know. Like what it feels like to get cancer, or like what it feels like to I don't know. Like, I feel like there's some things that there's some knowledge you only get if like really horrible things happen. And I would rather not have this experience. Like, I'm not enough like Faust You know, Faust,
Yes.
right? Faust wants to experience everything. I feel like there's some part of me that is like very much not Faust.
I think that really epitomizes in a very clear and articulate way, like sort of what you're getting at when talking about like this epistemic exploration. And I think all of us certainly have our limits. Like there are certainly experiences that I could have that would reveal to me like the nature of having them, and I would have the knowledge of it, but it like would absolutely destroy me. I don't know if I personally have the grit, the character to otherwise like persevere through that.
Yeah.
But even if we all have like various thresholds by which we're willing to engage in that sort of exploration, I think at the core of like the human spirit is something that is like truly Faust-like.
Yeah.
Is truly like just firebranding, like guns-ho, like blazing forward, trying to find out as much as possible.
Yeah.
And like we all falter like somewhere along the way, but we all are unified in that all of us have at least a little bit of that.
Yeah. It might be easier when you're younger too. I mean, I know some very curious older people though too, so I don't think it is that, it's not that linear. I think it depends on your circumstances and maybe a little bit on temperament. Yeah.
Okay.
Louisiana, I've been to Louisiana.
Which part?
I've been to New Orleans. We had our musicology conference there a couple of times. I ate étouffée, which was very delicious, and beignets.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good cuisine place.
Well, you know, you have all that Acadian influence, and it's just, I mean, you know, for all their flaws, the French know how to do food. Okay, is there anything you're sure is true, and how sure are you about it?
Oh yeah, things that I know. I mean, again, I feel like I reach for very sentimental things. I know that I love my son.
Yes.
I know that he's the best thing ever. No, he really is. You would think so too, even though he's not your son. I know for sure that I'm a very lucky person. That I really do feel like just like a very lucky person. I feel a lot of gratitude. The question is a little bit like, what do you believe in?
Yeah.
There's a way in which I still believe in awe. So like this feeling of like being this kind of like slightly sublime feeling of being like overwhelmed by something, or really feel like allowing yourself to submit to something and really feel it. I really believe in that feeling. I feel like when music can access that, it doesn't have to be music, because like other art forms or experiences can do it. Waterfalls being one like often cited example, right? Things that kind of overwhelm your senses and make you kind of like see yourself in a different way or feel yourself in a different way. I kind of believe in that. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that I feel like there's a lot of things that I know. And then of course there's a lot of things that I don't know, and I know that I know. There's some things I don't know that I don't know them, and that's another thing that I know. There are lots of things I don't know that I don't know I know, and that's a whole other set of things, which is, you know, I'm again like, maybe because I'm 41 and life is very humbling, like I'm also at peace with that, like that there will be many, many things that I never know and never even know that I don't know. And, you know, I have, if I'm lucky, you know, some single digit number of decades left on the earth, and I will learn what I can while I'm here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is that there's a special question underneath the picture of ice cream.
Yes.
We're gonna eat the spiciest hot sauce in order to earn our ice cream question.
Yes.
And we're gonna look at that and we'll write our answers down.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the spiciest hot sauce. What does it say? This is
scorpion.
scorpion. Oh my goodness. I am very afraid of scorpions, I have to say, but I think I can probably handle this.
Yeah, I feel like thus far it's been pretty manageable.
All right. All right, should we cheers?
Yeah, cheers.
Oh my God, you have so much in there.
I know,
Cheers.
I wanted to make it worthwhile.
Oh, definitely spicy. That one's definitely spicier. Okay. Woo!
Whoa.
Right? Okay, so wait, should we read it out? Okay, so is truth always objective or can it be relative? Can two people ever correctly hold contradictory truths in the same context? This is very interesting.
Oh my God, I'm dying. Oh my Lord.
One thing that's objectively true is that this pen is running out of ink. Okay.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. I am crying. No. We die like men. Oh. Sorry, I can't think.
Okay, I have no idea if this makes any sense or not.
So is the truth objective or can it be relative? I think truth is always relative to the knower,
Okay,
but I think we can come to agree about things
okay.
in a very real sense. And we can come to have like shared notions of like definitions, and we can create shared knowledge, but then that becomes relative to the discourse community that you establish with another person.
Okay, I buy all of that. I just said it, I don't know, I said something different. What I said is, if it's relative, it's not truth. So like the truth would be the thing that isn't relative. But this goes along with the fact that I think that there are things that are truth, and you seem to be sort of skeptical of that whole enterprise.
Yeah.
And I also said, if it's true for you, like, so if you said, this hot sauce is really spicy, and I said, I don't think it's that spicy, it would still be true that you experience it as very spicy, and I experience it as less spicy.
Yeah.
So is a hot sauce spicy? It appears to be. All evidence suggests that it's very spicy.
The truth would be that I find it spicy, you don't find it spicy. As to whether or not it is spicy,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Or like you can get into things that are objective measures of spiciness, like Scoville units or whatever, right? And you can be
Sure.
like this, so scorpion objectively is spicy compared to what? Oh, the compared to what is always so helpful.
Yeah.
It's definitely spicier than the other ones were.
And then can two people ever hold contradictory truths in the same concept or context?
Yeah,
Excuse me. I don't think so.
yeah.
I think if they're contradicting, then they're not truth.
Like if I tell you what I ate for breakfast this morning, you're like, no, you didn't. Like there is the truth of like, I know, I was there, I can see in my mind what the plate looks like.
I think that's that. Please save me.
Can we have earned our, so we earned our ice cream. It is vanilla.
Yes.
Yours is, they didn't have
Oh my God, how exciting.
What is it?
It's cookie dough.
What?
Do you want the plant-based one?
Maybe.
It looks very
I
delicious.
might try both. Oh my God.
One thing that we know is that Leela is awesome.
And that is an objective truth.
I agree.
That is not just a
I
pragmatic
could back it
one.
up with evidence. I could back it up with evidence. Evidence is very strong.
Evidence is incredibly strong.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, this was incredibly fun.
So you should take my class so we can keep talking.